What dwells in the depths of your podcast selections if it isn't the Dead Red Herring podcast?
Of course. What else?
What else, really?
Yeah. With me, Roland.
And with me, Magnus.
And we're here to talk about just that. What lurks beneath.
What lurks in the deep web? No, wait.
You don't want to know what lurks in the deep web.
Oh, I'll show you.
No.
Let me just whip up the torch.
No, don't enter the red room.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that, a girl. What are they? Oh, no.
Oh, no. Are they making pastry?
Yes.
Oh, God. That is actually horrifying.
Turn dark. Just like that.
And just like that.
The flick of a switch, it turned dark.
Yeah. And speaking of dark, the concept of what lurks beneath.
Yes.
It's like if we go into games, we go into movies, series, books. You know, the usual suspect when it comes to entertainment.
Your media of your choice.
Yes. There are certain genres and tropes, and one of them is, of course, fear.
Yeah.
And that includes things that live either underground or in water. And for some reason, people have a big problem with stuff that live in water or underground because it's this unknown. What is it? Don't really know. So it's scary.
Yes. The concept of fear, the unknown. It could get you. You don't know.
Yeah.
Boo.
And I mean, it doesn't really have to be anything special. It could just be that it's this creepy crawly thing that's not really dangerous, but you think it looks dangerous or creepy, and therefore it's going to eat your toes.
Yes. Nibble on your toes when you swim. No.
Or maybe there's a pike just going for a real grab.
Pikes are scary.
Pikes can be scary.
When you're not seeing them.
Well, they're all around, or at least up here for us. They are all around.
All around.
Yeah, unless it's a specially made ponds or small lakes for sport fishing, then usually there are no pikes because they would just fuck it all up.
Fuck it all up and kill things.
Yeah. You know, which they do.
Yeah.
Because they're hungry. They're gluttonous little fuckers.
Who isn't? Who isn't really? I mean...
Yeah, true. Or it could be a nipple fish.
Son of a...
Almost took off my left nipple tit.
You're doing the damage.
But...
Manslayer aside. It is more creepy with things underwater than something underground, I think, but...
It depends a bit, but generally I agree with you. Because when you have water, you have the added element of... first off, moving in water is kind of out of our element. But also, I mean, we're not supposed to be in water. We can't breathe, we can't move. And if we go too deep, we'll get crushed.
Yeah.
So it's not our...
It is literally not
realm.
Our element. Exactly.
So if you go into water, whatever has it as a natural habitat will always have the upper hand on you.
Yes.
They will always be faster. They will always be able to manage. I mean, they live there. They can breathe and everything. So you're always going to have a harder time.
Yeah.
And if we take a look at the underground scenario, even though you might actually have a bit of an easier time navigating, moving, and just generally stay there than underwater. Whatever makes its habitat underground will have an upper hand on you because it usually have senses specialized for that environment.
And digging. Not forgetting about the digging.
The biggest factor going both underwater and underground is that your ability to see is very impaired.
Yeah. Your ability to see, your ability to fight back in some cases, your ability to run away are limited.
Exactly. And since humans aren't really made for digging naturally, it might be a hard time to just, you can't really do like Minecraft and punch the wall and suddenly you have a way out.
I'm gonna punch this wall full of dirt and just pocket the earth as far as I go. Don't think so.
Yeah. But the reason that I'm bringing this subject, was because I had an interesting conversation with my fiance about, underwater creatures.
Yeah.
She has a fear of water and beings underwater.
Yeah.
Because she has really poor eyesight. So without glasses, it's basically zero.
Yeah.
More or less. I mean, it has to be really up close for her to actually see anything without her glasses. And when she goes swimming, she loves swimming. But because she can't see,
it increases the feeling of unknown and the uncertainty.
Exactly. So when you can't see something, it becomes scary. It becomes a threat.
Yes.
And that made me think about some of the worst experiences I had in gaming. And funny enough, one of these was when I was playing Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight.
Yeah.
Because at that one point, you have to run through I guess it's sort of a sewage system, but more of a storm drain. But at some points, there are pools of water, and there is something in there. And these things, they don't really move, so they look like giant jellyfish, but with tentacles. And when you get close, they whack at you, and I think they sort of electrocute you as well. But these made me feel so goddamn creeped out that I began to almost have problems with water levels.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
And that it's also part of this that I am out of my element and don't really know what it is. It's just
you're in my world now.
Yeah, sort of. Now, sure, I've gotten over it mostly. There are still some things that made me go, oh, fuck that. No. That's just too way fucking creepy. But for the most part, I don't have a problem. Now, there are certain things that made me go, oh, shit. Like, for example, in Resident Evil 4. Which I think you experienced in firsthand.
Yeah, you were so delightfully friendly to show me the
Here, take the controller. Experience. Shoot it in the water. There are fish there. You just collect them.
Get you the fish.
Yeah, and up came the giant mutated fish and swallowed you whole.
Yeah.
First time I experienced that was a real scare. And then was like, what the f-? And then it just became a funny party trick.
Yeah. Here, let me show you my big mutated fish. Came out wrong. But
yeah. But I've noticed a pattern when looking on, especially YouTube, for people's thoughts on underwater creatures and enemies and so.
Fuck them.
A lot of people seem to have a problem with the giant eel in Mario 64, which I find kind of hilarious.
Well, to their defense, I can see why, but I can also see, but I also know why not. Because, like you said, it doesn't attack, but it looks freaky as fuck.
Yeah, it looks scary.
Yes.
And of course, I mean, we're talking about something that's really in the uncanny valley. And of course, if you're a small kid playing this delightfully cartoony game and suddenly that monstrosity appears.
Spell me trauma.
Yeah. Of course, I can understand there might be some impact. However, that's not the most horrifying thing in that game. The worst thing in Mario 64 is the goddamn piano. I was not ready for that when it happened.
Clong, 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 clong.
Yep. Certainly,
motherfucker.
Suddenly sprouting giant teeth and chomping at you. I mean, not even the chain chomp was that scary.
In that case, you know what you're getting yourself into. Like, okay, it's a big chain chomp. Yeah. Okay, fine. It's chomping at me. What is that? A piano? Oh, let's go closer. Drop.
Yeah, exactly. Now, sure, a piano, a grand piano in a haunted house, that should have been some form of warning.
Should be a clue, yeah.
Yep. But no,
Eh.
you're not really that smart as a kid.
Yeah.
Another thing that happened to me, just to continue on the whole thing.
Or traumatized you in your childhood?
Yeah, exactly. Turok 2, first time going to the catacomb levels.
Okay, yeah.
Suddenly giant spiders. In quite tight corridors or tunnels.
Yeah.
And they swarm you from everywhere.
Mega arachnids!
Yeah, well, these are big as small dogs, so I mean...
Down, boy.
Yeah, that wasn't really a pleasant experience, and now we're on the underground section.
Again, yeah.
Again.
So when you have creatures that live on the ground that are in their element, we can start with well, since you're into spiders, we can start with spiders and spiders in this sense.
Ah, shit.
No, but arachnids and insects.
Yeah.
Blech.
The creepy crawly.
Oh god, I got a flashback to a scene in the the King Kong movie, the first remake.
No.
The one with Jack Black in it.
I haven't seen that one.
Okay, because it has a scene when they fall into a crevice or a ravine.
Mm-hmm.
And it's full of these big ass bugs, big ass leeches, big ass centipedes, big ass crickets, and all that. And they made that scene in such a way that I feel so uncomfortable thinking about it, because it is a quiet, barely no music, barely no action. It just starts to feed on them, and there's nothing they can do about it, and it's so goddamn haunting.
I can see that. God, I'll have to check that scene later.
Yeah, I just remember, because some of them get out of there, of course, but most of them bites the dust there, and it's in that such a way that they can do nothing about it, and it's
yeah, that is truly horrifying.
So that is also an aspect of the element of now you're in my world, little puppy.
Yeah.
So bugs underground. Yeah,
well, there hasn't really... Well, okay, sure. For a while, there were a lot of these horror flicks, like Eight-Legged Freaks, I think it's called, and there's some movie that... This one's really old, though.
Ants.
Yeah, they come, or...
Okay, yeah, I think the one with the ants.
Yeah, exactly. Giant ants attacking. And I mean, at some point, they actually made insects or arachnids the main enemies. And I mean, I can see that. Now, ants, I don't really have any problem with ants. I think they might be annoying little shits.
Yeah.
But I mean, they are really important to the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Spiders are also equally important to the ecosystem. I actually had a pet spider at one point. So I don't really have any problems with that. Now, I can think they are really creepy, at least when it comes to certain sizes of them. Like, if you think of, I'm going to say a bigger house spider. Now, up here in the north, they don't grow that big. But
Southways.
Yeah, if you go more to the Pacific or to the weird country that is also a continent, they have their own deadly selection of giant ass spiders. Although the huntsman is not lethal to humans, as far as I know, it's quite a docile house spider. And might actually be quite benefactory for you to have them, because they keep pests at bay.
Sure, they
which
look
most
creepy.
house spiders do. They are actually a good thing to have in your house, because they eat all of the creeps that might otherwise ruin your house. So you shouldn't whack the spider just because you see it, although I am guilty of doing this, because, I don't really like the big crawly spiders going around and suddenly jumping up on me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the spiders are beneficial, but if you want it dead, just leave it be. A frog will take care of it later.
Most probably.
So there's always a bigger...
Statistically, you swallow, what is it, 3.5 spiders a year?
No wonder I'm so full in the morning.
Yeah, well, sleeping, so... I'm not sure how often that happens to us, but still.
Yeah. a load of bull in my opinion, but I don't know. I haven't filled myself eating spiders, so. Another conversation that my fiance and I fell into the other week, that we took a look at a spider in our garden feeding on a fly.
Yeah.
And sure, it's feeding. It does what it does.
Yeah.
But then it got me thinking. Imagine if that thing were like the size of a Shelob in Lord of the Rings.
Oh, God help us all.
Yes. I mean, when you think of how spiders feed,
yeah,
they spray you with.
It's a sort of enzyme.
Yeah.
Well, it's a venom, but what it does, it
liquefies you from the inside.
Exactly.
So it basically turns your inside into mush and sucks you dry.
Yeah.
Imagine a human getting in. Yeah.
That happening to a human.
Exactly.
Oh. Yeah.
But now that is freaky.
Insta mummification, more or less.
Yeah. It leaves you completely
dry.
Yeah, what is that word? Decimated.
Mm.
But I think it all boils down to when we feel fear for these things below, it is in the element of we are being hunted and being not anymore on top of the food chain.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of folklore involves creatures in the dark, in the deep.
Yeah.
For example, one easy example is the troll under the bridge.
Yeah.
That is still, it's what lurks beneath.
Yeah.
And
it counts, people.
It counts. It definitely does. And people were actually believing that there might be a troll under the bridge and you should not disturb it, or you should always be ready to barter with it.
Yeah.
Now, sure, I can feel a bit like it's an interesting myth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's folklore.
But I can also see why they made a folklore about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because as a child, maybe you don't want to fuck around under the bridge in the stream
you tell
and all
the
that.
kids to stay out of it.
And you have an old bridge; it could collapse. You could fall into the stream and drown. Sure. So, and don't trust strangers. I mean,
that might be. I mean, a hobo living on the bridge. You never know.
It's a troll.
It's just an angry homeless person.
Very hairy homeless person.
It's actually Bigfoot.
Oh, fuck. Smells checks out. Skunk ape. And we have in our little folklore, we have these subterral creatures that is called the ones that dwells underground. The underjordiska.
Yeah.
Would basically it for vättar, tomtar. How do you fucking translate that?
Actually, vättar could easily be translated into goblins.
I suppose
but they're not goblins in a modern sense.
Exactly, not in the fantasy RPG sense.
And tomte is actually what we call a tiny man-like creature with a pointy hat.
Imagine a garden gnome.
Yeah, exactly. But these are, in folklore, they're always clad in gray. They might have depending on, they might have glowing eyes or not. They might be friendly. They're usually friendly if you treat them right, that is. It's all about equal exchange. For example, in folklore here in the north, it's usually told that you might have these gnomes. Gnomes is actually the right word for it.
Yeah.
Think about it. You can have these gnomes to help you out at the farm, but you must always pay them for their work. If you don't, they will burn your farm down or kill your cattle. Or just make a
living hell for you and your farm and the ones living on it.
But if you treat it right, it will help you out.
Yeah.
And usually it's that you should offer it milk, or it could be porridge, maybe some other food stuff. I don't think there's any myth or part that said you were supposed to offer anything else, but I mean, local variations always exist.
I suppose. I have always heard porridge.
Yeah.
But, porridge with a little knob of butter.
Yeah, that's usually what they want. Or, as I said, milk.
Oh, milk, of course. And it could be very beneficial if you help these little gnomes out.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of trolls, from my home region, there is a myth about a big stone. Now, this is one of them stones that came rolling around during the glacial times. So it's a big fuck off rock. And the myth is that beneath this, the little people usually gathered for festivities. And at one point, there was a boy that went there and spied on them.
Oh, he went there?
He went there and spied on them. And I think at some point, there was also trolls involved in this. Of course, there's always trolls involved when it comes to... But I think that it was that he took a horn or something from them, and they started chasing him when he had stolen it, but he went across the fields, and there is something in the story that he was supposed to ride across in a certain pattern.
I think I've heard some sort of... He rode across the lines in the field.
Yeah, they plowed lines.
Yeah, exactly. So they made crosses.
Yeah, exactly. So at that point, the trolls couldn't follow him, and he got away with the horn.
There's a big ass cross on the field. Can't do shit.
And also, it was said that these little people gathering under the stone was supposed to have a lot of treasure.
Well.
And sometimes these little people also stole children away and to bring them with them and have them live there and stuff like that. I mean, that is usually it's like our Nordic form of the changelings.
Exactly. Yeah, that's totally think about that with changelings and bortbytingar.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of the things that you might have in Old English lore or Old British even.
Yeah.
A lot of that you can actually find example of in old Nordic myth.
Yeah, exactly.
And speaking more of the sort of water creatures, we've already mentioned these before, but the bekkahest, the horses that live in the water that come up and steal children.
It is exactly the Nordic version of the Kelpie.
Yeah, and Necken.
Yeah.
The fiddler that sits in the middle of the stream.
A naked fiddler in the stream.
Exactly. And he lures down people to drown them. And I mean, these are bound to water.
Yeah.
And it made people afraid of water. Because it...
As they should, because...
I mean, you should have some sort of respect for water. Because, I mean, that the force that can be in a stream, that's... Holy crap.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, fuck around long enough in the stream and you're bound to drown. Yeah. Especially in the time where swimming was not a heard of thing. Or it wasn't a regular... It wasn't
something that was taught on common...
Exactly.
On common grounds. But if we're going to move a bit out to sea, we have the stories of the mermaids. Not the Disney kind. Not the, big... eyes and lovely wanna be with the sailors and lovely dovely. No. We're talking about the kind that lures sailors with their either looks or singing.
Yep.
As well as the sirens.
Exactly.
Lure them down to drown them. And or eat them. I mean, real folklore is hardcore, scary.
It's not supposed to be lovely-dovely fairy tales.
They're supposed to be warnings.
Exactly. Teachings and warnings.
Yeah. Or just some weird form of explanation about...
a phenomenon.
Phenomenons that you couldn't really explain in any other way.
Which then brings me to another ocean or sea creature that are in folklore. The Draugen. Not the Draugr, but the Draugen. Which is It is said that sailors who died out to sea were bound to become a Draugen, a huge creature with empty eyes and an empty fish-like mouth who screamed. And when you heard the Draugen scream, you were bound to be drawn down by it into the ocean. Your boat was to perish and been drawn down by the dragon, unless you made it into port or into the beach.
That's some Lovecraft shit right there.
That is some very Lovecraft shit. So it made me think of, okay, how could this folklore come to be? Because that is a fun thing to think about.
Yeah.
How could this...
Where does it originate from?
Precisely. So it got me thinking of, when you're out at sea and you hear some wind phenomenon that makes...
Wailing. Yeah.
You think, okay, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a strong gale.
Yeah.
It's some... For example, if you're close to some kind of reef or cliffs, there might be some sort of screaming, quote unquote. I mean, when the wind goes through certain objects or just get to certain vibrations, it will sound like a real scream.
Yeah.
Or a howl.
Exactly.
So, of course, it could be they had this sort of warning to tell that, okay, there's danger nearby.
Yeah.
But it might be actually a reef or a cliff.
Exactly.
So, of course, if you made it to port, you're safe.
Yeah.
But it could as well be that you get caught in a stream and crush your ship against some
and some survivors might have said, "Oh, there was a big scream, and then everything."
Exactly.
So the legend might have.
I mean, usually trauma does that to people. Trauma and shock make you see and hear and experience things that might not actually be.
Trauma, it changes things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess it's kind of mandatory if we're talking about sea, the things that dwells under the sea in folklore now. We have the Kraken, yeah, of course.
And I mean, it's not really unreasonable to believe that people might have encountered something like the Kraken of myth.
No, exactly.
Because we have evidence of the giant squid.
Yeah.
And I mean
a stray giant squid up here in the north. I mean,
yeah.
What the hell is that, Captain? It's a squid, but it's giant.
Yeah, it's really fun to think about the giant squid because they've been so elusive, and it's only in recent years that we have gotten real evidence for them.
Yeah, that is cool.
And those have, as far as I know, only been the smaller examples of them. We don't know if there's something bigger lurking down there, since we know next to nothing about our oceans, the deep parts of the oceans. We know more about the moon than we do about our own oceans.
How many % of the ocean is unexplored?
Around 85 to 90%,
That is a lot of ocean that is unexplored.
Yes. Now, they've been doing surveys and so, but I mean, it's not like they've really been explored. Because, again, it's not in our element.
No, of course. Just thinking about these sounds you hear on the ground, I'm thinking about the bloop.
Yeah.
That is an interesting one.
That is an interesting one.
Funnily enough, it's on the west, in the Pacific, at the coast of South America. Very close to a certain sunken city, if I may say so.
Yeah.
That is uncannily
close. For the people that don't know the references.
For the people who play in the home game, I'm talking about the sunken city of Relie, where Cthulhu is
resting,
dead, resting and dreaming.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be a bit of the coast of Christmas Island or something like that.
I think so, yeah.
It's supposed to be almost in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Exactly.
And the bloop was some...
It is a sound phenomenon that was in a certain frequency that it would indicate that something big have made this. And, of course, it could be anything from gas pockets, could be submarine icebergs, I think, one explanation. Rubbing
never heard
against
that one.
I think there was like submarine icebergs that rubbing against each other, making this grinding sound. But the fun thing, it was more of a organic sound.
Oh crap!
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Now we're not saying Cthulhu.
We're not saying Cthulhu or any other star spawns here. However,
the possibilities are endless.
Exactly. I mean, when you have this whole H.P. Lovecraft mythos, it is chock full of submarine.
Yeah, and that's because he hated, crustaceans and ocean living things.
He hated a lot of things, that man.
He was a man of solitude.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. I mean, I can understand. Crustaceans are special, and you just imagine yourself. You're suddenly face to face with a giant, I don't know, crab or crayfish.
Mm-hmm.
It might actually be sort of scary.
Everyone's gang sent hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to Far Harbor in Fallout 4.
I'm just saying, what is it called? The Red Menace? Or the Red... I'm just leaving it at that. I'm gonna check this one out, actually, because
Red Menace, wasn't that communism?
That was communism. And I think that's what they're playing at.
So, I see.
Oh no, sorry, Red Death.
Red Death.
Yeah, I'm just leaving it at that. People who play the game know which one I'm talking about, or made that mission.
For those of you that don't know, it involves, is it a container or a truck?
Oh no, this one is completely different.
Oh really?
Yes,
because the ones
I don't want to spoil it, actually, because it's the one
I'm thinking
mission.
about is the giant hermit.
The fucking hermit crab, yeah.
That lives in. Is it a container or a truck? Whatever
it is. It is a lorry container.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's a big ass hermit crab that jumps out at you.
Emphasis on jumps out. Speaking of jumping out things in Far Harbor, fucking anglers, man.
Right. What are those?
What are those? Well, at first there is a plant there called lureweed.
Oh.
It is a little glowing flower that looks like it's hanging there.
Yeah.
At a
and you there
flower.
As a player going like, oh, maybe I can collect this.
I can collect this. Fun. Oh, you can collect this. It's fun. Oh, you can make beautiful things. Oh, there's another one. And then suddenly, kaboom! There is a big ass. Well, it's a combination of a frog and an anglerfish that explodes out of the water with this goddamn glowing flower growing from its head. So yeah, it's a big ass.
Yeah, we see where they've
got it. It's a big ass apex predator anglerfish.
Yeah. Speaking of anglerfish, just a bit of interesting culture thing here. Anglerfish in Swedish is marulk, and there is an expression for especially women to be a real marulk as a angry, bitter, really mean person.
Yeah.
So,
a real anglerfish.
A real anglerfish. Not in the sense of luring you in and trying to eat you, but just being mean.
Yeah. Ugly. Ugly mean.
Hey, pretty lady. Let's go nuts.
Exactly. Case and point.
Yeah. But speaking of other monsters in games, drowners in The Witcher.
Fucking drowners, man.
Yeah?
That is a fun one.
Well, they're not really hard. They're just annoying. And then you have...
When you swim, they're fucking annoying.
Yeah, well, I haven't been able to swim yet. Because you can't swim in the first game.
Oh, that's right.
I'm still in the first game.
Oh, that's right.
But then you have these giant leeches.
Oh, fuck.
I don't remember what they're called right now, but that's also... What the fuck is this? Giant leech creatures that walk on two legs and wants to eat your face.
We shouldn't be nicely segueing into another underwater thing that is a kind of a big leech walks on two legs. Fluke boy.
Oh yeah, fluke boy.
Okay, technically it's not a leech, it's a fluke worm, so...
It's a tapeworm, I think.
Yeah. A fluke.
Is that what they're called?
That's what they're called.
Okay.
Or there's some kind of tapeworm that is called a fluke. So
the thing here is that it's part of the first season of the X-Files.
Yes.
And it's a Monster of the Week episode where you have this mutated tapeworm that has become humanoid.
Yep.
And interestingly enough, the person who plays that monster becomes, later on, goes and becomes one of the best writers for the show.
Fuck me.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Huh. But anyways, the creature, it's full costume.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesomely made. It's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
Creepy. Blech.
Well, it is in the uncanny valley.
It's really in the uncanny valley. And the thing with it is that it lurks in water. And it can squeeze through...
it lurks in sewage.
yeah. And it squeezes through pipes and stuff.
Yeah.
And, I mean, on one side, looking at it, now it isn't really that much of a scare factor. But
when you explain it from an outside perspective, yeah, of course, it's kind of ridiculous.
On the other side, on the other hand, looking at it and really being into the story, and the first time you actually see that face coming up from the dark water, holy shit.
That is scary.
Yeah. That really creeps you out.
That lips with the 4 hook teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And suction cup thing, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a pure example of creepy creatures in water.
Yeah, exactly.
Nasty stuff. Another, just to more or less finish off the mythological creature track.
Yep. Fucking go ahead.
You have Nessie.
Nessie. Of course. Yeah, exactly. How can we forget about
Nessie? Or our own Swedish version of it all? Storsjöodjuret.
Yeah.
Which is supposed to live in northern Sweden.
Storsjön.
In Storsjön, exactly.
Which is in...
Jämtland.
Jämtland. Fuck it. Alright, that is not important.
Yep.
Oh, don't say that to jämtlänningar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
De menar normen, som egentligen är danska. I vilket fall.
Xenophobia aside.
Xenophobia? No. It's about unification. All of the Nordic is supposed to be Danish.
Debatable, but moving on.
But the funny part here is that there are equally as many creatures or myths about creatures, sea monsters, like Nessie or Storsjöodjuret, as there is more or less cultures. Because you were looking through a list earlier.
Yeah,
and there were a lot of these examples. I mean, sure, a lot of them were in sort of US, Canada, something like that.
US, Canada was some in South America, one in Turkey. Yeah, it was all over the place.
These big sea creatures, sea monsters, seem to have a certain place in cultures and myths.
Yeah. I think because Nessie has cemented itself so hard into like the sea monster culture that everyone, okay, Loch Ness, yeah, of course, the Loch Ness monster. I mean, there have been, well, coincidentally many instances of encountering this monster, which I guess it has cemented itself so hard. I don't know. I mean,
yeah. Well, it's part of the thrill and the mystery. I mean,
do you think it's something there?
Since there's no real evidence of it, I guess I just have to be skeptical. I will always keep an open mind if evidence is presented.
Yeah.
Real evidence will garner trust.
Yeah, of course.
So until the point where I actually have hard evidence, I will be like, it could be, but probably not.
Yeah. I suppose. I mean, the one thing that keeps it so unexplained is because it's a so goddamn hard lake to research. It is so deep. It's deep and it's filled with these underwater caves.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
So it's kind of hard to pinpoint. I mean, you can basically say, oh, okay, fuck it, let's go with the sonar and just whoop.
Yeah.
Where is it? Oh, fuck, it's there. Yeah. There it is. Or there's nothing there. Well, it is filled with these crevices and caves and underwater holes.
It could be that this creature, whatever it is, live in these caves.
It could
or
be.
It might be that these caves connect to something else.
Exactly. Like in Subterranean Lake. That would be cool, but where it could also be this big ass catfish, because catfishes have been known to grow to this substantial sizes. So it could be a very, very old, very well-fed catfish that lives there.
Yeah, it's not impossible.
I mean, if that got kids, then the legend lives on.
I mean, if you want to see big ass catfish, look at the waters around Chernobyl.
Yeah, oh god. Stalker theme intensifies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is... I guess that is the thrill of having a big lake somewhere and just... It builds up the story about a...
I think it's interesting you saying this about big lakes, because we got two big ass lakes here in the country. Vänern and Vättern.
Yeah.
As far as I know, there is no story about any sea creature living in those.
That is weird. I see what you mean. Because I'm thinking about, okay, sea creature, Sweden. Is it Vänern, Vättern?
No.
No.
Storsjön.
Storsjön.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I think it's also... I think they made research actually of the Storsjön, and I think they found something big and organic there actually.
I haven't heard anything
I mean,
about
it's
it.
very...
I know that
Is there
they
news?
once a year they go on a search, but I mean, still nothing. You would think that after this time they would have found something. Or maybe they're just lazy. They just use it as an excuse to go out on a boat and drink.
One thing might not rule out the other, so... So yeah. But that is a fun phenomenon about... But I don't... I mean, apart from the old folklore, I mean, the modern sea creatures, they are more like urban folklore nowadays, or urban.
Actually, when it comes to more modern sort of sea monsters or so, the only thing I can really think of is the megalodon.
Yeah, that is. Oh god,
that is actually the only thing I think of when it comes to modern.
yeah,
Because all else is either a rehash of old stuff,
yeah,
or giant sharks. Jaws put the giant shark on the table.
of course.
But today it's the megalodon is the big baddie.
Yeah, a remnant of the old prehistoric world.
Yeah,
A big ass white shark.
but am I wrong in that they've theorized that it should actually still be alive?
I think so. It's heavily theorized, but I think they can't have actually.
I don't think they've found any evidence for it, but by theory or whatever reason, they believe it might still be there.
Well, with 85% of world's ocean undiscovered.
Or unserved. Well,
yeah.
Not really explored.
Yeah, exactly.
We should say. Yeah.
I'm just saying, what fucking lurks in the Mariana Trench? Mariana Trench.
Mariana Trench. Yeah.
Marinara Trench.
Well, you could always ask, was it James Cameron that went down there?
He did actually.
Maybe he saw something.
Just thinking.
He found weird
goddamn
relics
South Park thing.
and pillars with strange creatures carved into them. Sorry.
Oh, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. Either that or a big glowing spaceship. Have you seen The Abyss?
Yes. Yes, I have.
By James Cameron. That was an interesting one.
That was an interesting one. I mean, that scene where it is Bruce Willis, right? I think it's Bruce Willis. He takes on this liquid suit, and goes down the ravine.
Yeah, exactly. And seeing this big ass glowing.
Yeah, and it takes him up and everything.
Nope, I think it's Ed Harris.
It's Ed Harris.
Yes, that's another gem.
Oh damn.
Oh dang.
Well then.
Yeah. So I think that basically covers the submarine undiscovered monsters. There's a lot of more, but what more can we say, really?
Well, could look at it like that. If you're gonna make a list, let's say name 3 water-based enemies or monsters, either from games, movie, whatever, that you think are name-worthy?
From games and movies.
Or TV series. Take your pick.
Or legends? Nah. Okay. I mean, the Kraken is name worthy because it's so cemented. Because its presence in Clash of Titans.
Yeah.
The Greek Kraken. Then, in that sense,
they have a Greek Kraken.
I think they have something like that.
Because as far as I know, the Kraken is a Nordic thing.
I know.
But I mean, the Greeks they have the Hydra.
Yeah, and the Scylla.
Yeah.
Hydra and Scylla. I mean,
Meh.
They're neighbors in the Maelstrom. So.
How neighbor?
Howdy, monster neighbor.
What is it with the Greeks and having 3-headed things? I mean, they have a giant lizard with 3 heads, and they have a giant dog with 3 heads.
Uncontrollable thing, chaotic monster thing.
Yeah, I bet there's a lady with 3 boobs somewhere as well.
Well, on Mars, I think there is. But that's a difficult, hard one actually, because, well, I think Bruce, Jaws, basically.
Hello, Bruce.
Hello, Bruce. Well, the big ass shark
in Jaws.
Yes, that has cemented itself in pop culture.
Yep.
Submarine terror things. So we have Kraken, we have Jaws. I'm just sitting here thinking about games. Fucking hell, I can't think about one actually. All right, Mr. Leading Question. What did you want to?
The invisible creature in Amnesia.
Fair enough.
That walks around in the water.
Yeah, that's true.
That's horrifying enough.
Yeah.
You have the thing in Half-Life.
The Ichthyosaurus.
Yep. That fucker scared the living crap out of me.
True.
More than once. And third, actually, third is a difficult one.
I agree. Third is difficult.
What the fuck? Just that I can't really remember any real.
Let's say third one is a charm. Bullshit.
Yeah. Well, maybe not honorable mention like that, but you always have the giant crocodile alligator in Resident Evil 2.
That is true. That is true.
You never really count on that to appear when it does.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. If I may add the third one, because we already talked about it, but yeah, the big ass fish in Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
I mean, you have a boss fight with a fucker in afterwards, so I guess it counts.
Yeah, I'd say it counts.
I mean, when you're standing in the boat and that fucker just coming right at you, and you're like, okay, fuck.
No,
Oh, thank God, it.
Yeah.
Pulled it away.
Christ.
Yeah. So we do got in later times we have the subterran creatures. If we're gonna talk in movie wise, we have the mole people from that old movie. Mole people. Well,
I haven't seen that one.
Well, they're mole people, so.
Well, stupid mole people. Digging tunnels.
I mean, have you seen the picture of the goddamn things?
No, I haven't.
I'm just gonna show you on a picture because. What about the noble mole people that lives in our?
I was gonna search mole people and got mole propane.
Close enough.
Oh, Christ. Okay.
Yeah, they're
funny looking, but really uncanny.
Yeah. So yeah, they dig around looking for victims, etc., etc., etc. You have the chuds.
The shads?
Yes, the chads. Of course. The goddamn chads. Now the chuds, the cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Also from the movie.
Chuds. So yeah, they basically are what that they describe. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers.
Yes, imagine just yellow-eyed mutants with big pointed teeth.
Yeah, exactly. You have those, and if we are gonna jump a little, having a little quickie in the Warhammer fantasy, you have the grots.
Yeah.
They are underground, so it counts. And then you have my precious rat boys.
You're fucking Skaven.
No, precious rat boys.
No, They're pests. They
No.
bring disease.
No, they bring gifts.
No, they don't.
They bring plague. It is gift from me to you. Here you go.
Sigmar, damn you.
Yes. But the fun thing about Skaven is a majority of the people in the Warhammer fantasy world doesn't believe they exist.
No,
For fun. First, for
yeah,
starts.
it's kept quite under wraps,
Yeah.
especially in the Empire.
Exactly. And we'll talk about the Skaven.
No, I mean, I can understand the whole point of, let's not talk about that. It might spread mass panic. We have a hard time enough as it is with the vampire counts and chaos. I mean,
yeah. Do we really need an under threat? Hell, here we go. Skavens.
yeah, a unstoppable wave of vermin that will consume everything.
And the fun thing, they can spring out of basically nowhere in the hidden crevices from the earth.
Yeah,
Just pops out. Pop out!
and then just as fast as they appeared, they're gone.
Exactly. So those are my favorite subterranean dwellers, really.
Yeah, well, they did gnaw away the world, causing it doom.
Whoopsie!
Yeah, I mean, they even managed to gnaw through existence itself. For some fucking
Can you
reason.
not love those things?
Easy vermin.
Interdimensional vermins, or interrealm, really, but
Yeah. I don't really have much for the underground portion. Really?
now it is kind of unexplored in that sense, but we have mentioned basically everything we can say about the underground thing. Okay, we have the Morlocks from the Time Machine. They are basically underground dwellers.
And usually when things are underground, I don't know really how to spell it out other than they aren't really used that much as an antagonist, really.
No, but I
mean,
think
there is one story with Lovecraft. Which one is it? There is this manor and the family that secluded
rats in the walls.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
one.
they spring out. It's more or less like fucking Skaven. they turn into some form of weird rat-like people,
Yeah,
and they just scurry out and destroy more or less everything.
Yeah, and the family has given them human sacrifice for quite a long time. I gotta read that one again.
Yeah.
It has a cat with a kick-ass name. I'm just saying it for that.
But otherwise, there's really not much when it comes to the underground. For some reason, I started to think about Alien, but that is more because they build their own sort of cave systems.
Mm-hmm.
And make
ants?
hives.
What ants, really?
Yeah.
Big ass ants. In space ants.
And then, I mean, you have the Silithid in World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Annoying fucking bugs. Can hate them.
Well, in all aspects, I think goblins are the subterranean threat in fantasy-wise.
Yeah, goblins, orcs.
Orcs, that's true.
They also do. Well, then you have the dwarves that are also the subterranean
threat.
Yeah, well, lurkers.
Yeah.
And then they dig too deep and release the fucking Balrog. Because why the fuck not?
Never forget, never forgive. Yet still, I love playing as dwarves.
Well, I like dwarves. They are interesting. They're usually very honorable people.
Mm. They're stubborn as a mountain, but they are stubborn with their honor. So, yeah.
Unless they get greedy.
It's exactly.
It's like, I found the Arkenstone. I want more!
Well, it is their honor, so.
My honor is my gold. My gold is my honor.
You figure out the rest.
Yeah. Well, also, it depends whether it's Tolkien or if it's D&D or whatever else system it is. But if we take just the generic fantasy dwarf.
Can take the Norse dwarf.
Blacksmith.
Originated from maggots from the giant Ymir.
Right. That's interesting.
That's why they love to dig tunnels.
Oh. Huh.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
And now you know.
And now I know. Yeah. I only know that the dwarfs in Nordic myth, they are the greatest blacksmiths and inventors.
Yep.
They made, and I mean, it's not only iron and steel that they work with. I mean,
It's gold.
gold,
And precious metals.
creatures.
And creatures, that is true.
I mean,
and magic runes.
Sleipnir.
That's true.
Sleipnir, the Odin's horse, which has, is it 6 legs or 8 legs?
8 legs.
Yeah, they made that. Aren't
I
they?
thought it was Loki who made that. Or is an offspring from Loki?
Actually, that might be true. Yeah, that might actually be true.
But I'm guessing they shoot the fucking thing.
Yeah, they absolutely do. But I know that they made Gungnir, Odin's spear. They made Thor's hammer, Mjolnir. They also made these bracelets that of gold that drop others.
That's true.
What else have they made?
They made Thor's belt.
Yeah, his belt
increases his strength.
Yes. Didn't they also make this sort of like a napkin or something, and they can summon a ship?
Yeah, I think it was who the was it Boulder?
Yeah, I think
Boulder had the he could basically throw out his rag or napkin that turns into a longship. So
yeah, and were they the ones who made the pig Sarimnor?
Maybe they made him, or he just existed. I don't know.
Well, the pig that gets slaughtered and made into food every day, but next day he's back.
Do you think he's traumatized?
I don't think he cares.
He's just blasé about the whole thing now.
I love the way that there's this comic form, Valhall.
Oh, yes, that
and
one.
The way they depicted Sarimnor in that, it's like whenever they're carving up pieces, it's like, oh, it tickles. It's funny.
Cool.
We didn't even mention Nidormen.
Oh, Jormungandr.
Yeah.
Midgårdsormen. That is a fun word to say or spell out. Jormungandr.
Big ass snake biting its own tail, keeping the world together.
Growing. What's that? Oh, it's me.
Exactly. And right, one of the challenges for Thor when it was supposed to lift a cat, it was actually an illusion. It was lifting that fucking snake.
Oh yeah, that's true. I mean, people should really read the legends.
Yeah, they're interesting. I'm just sad that the only stories we have are either from Snorre, that he wrote them like, what, 500 years after?
Yeah.
And then we have the monk that only went by hearsay, and that was also a couple of years after. So we have no real records of the Nordic culture.
We can basically assume that he based them on the old culture.
Also, if we look at the ones that went to Miklagård, that is modern day Istanbul.
Yeah.
Constantinople.
But
there is the records of, was he a tradesman, an Arab tradesman?
Think so.
Yeah, and he's the one that say that the Vikings are a serious people with no humor, and they spit and sow in their bath water or whatever. But I mean, that could, we don't know how good these sources are. We do know that the Nordic peoples were really keen on keeping appearances.
Yep.
But in my mind, it just goes against everything to have people line up and one by one taking turns to use the same water to clean themselves, and each one may spit and blow their nose in it. It seems like, no.
Nah. I don't buy that.
No.
Bloody Turk.
Or whatever he was.
Bloody. Yeah. Constantinopolist.
Okay. I guess there might be more to talk about with this, but I think we'll leave it for another time in that case.
Exactly.
But please tell us, what do you think about today's subject? Do you have any more input about different sea creatures, monsters, or the like?
Yeah.
What's your worst experience with a water level water creature?
Exactly. Do you have we missed something that is
That you think is really important?
Exactly, like you said. How could you not mention that? This is iconic. Are you stupid or you just
Actually, we didn't mention the creature from Black Lagoon.
fuck?
But now we did.
Yeah.
But honestly, I haven't seen any of those movies,
I have.
so I don't have any idea what they're about. Yes. I only know that there's this water creature coming up to steal the beautiful ladies.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. I think.
Okay, then. Now we talked about it.
I think I have it. I think we can see.
Yeah,
Eh.
maybe we should. But yeah, underwater creatures, underground creatures.
What are your opinions about the precious rat boys?
Should they be exterminated?
Or should they be condemned for their
Yes, condemned. Absolutely condemned.
or
Commended
commended
for their actions of
should
bringing
be condemned
death and
or
destruction.
commended? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You can always get in touch with us on Twitter.
Yep.
The handle is @DRH Podcast.
You should find both of our
Yeah,
accounts on
you
that.
have DRH Magnus, and I go by DRH Podcast.
Yes. So you will find a difference there. You can get in touch with us sending a email.
Yes.
With the with the address of dead.red.herring@gmail.com.
And of course, you find our stuff on YouTube, on Spotify, Twitcher. Actually, we're on Twitch as well, streaming. But we're on Stitcher. That's the one. Or any other place where you can find podcasts.
Yeah.
You should be able to find us there.
Exactly. And on Twitch, like we said, we do our streams now and then.
Yep.
And
trying to get a schedule in there, so
trying to. And on YouTube, you can find you will find our episodes, and you will find a little bit of best of streams,
and let's plays,
and some let's plays.
You know, funny stuff.
Exactly. You would not be disappointed, I promise you.
And so, with that said,
we didn't talk about the reptilians.
We don't talk about the reptilians, and you know that. But with that said, thank you so much for listening. See you later.
Ta-ta! Crippling anxiety about our impending doom.
Hernia.